A decade ago, out of a Silicon Valley garage, Planet began its stellar journey.
We've always had the goal of empowering humanity with imagery of the planet taken on a more frequent basis.
To achieve that, we'd have to act differently. Agile aerospace, as we called it, meant doing away with bulky billion-dollar satellites with drawn-out launch cycles. Instead, we'd design and build our own. Tiny, inexpensive Earth imaging powerhouses delivering data on demand.
And now we're at the point where we can image the entire Earth every single day. And it's a new capability that humanity's never had before.
Our constellation of nearly 200 Earth observation satellites currently orbiting Earth is the largest ever, and we've amassed a 10-year archive of proprietary data that grows by 15 terabytes every day, creating a search engine for the planet.
Google indexed what's on the internet and made it searchable. We're indexing what's on the Earth and making it searchable.
To unlock the value in this vast data set, we've spent a decade building out a platform that uses machine learning to make the data easy to consume. And it allows us to combine information and data to deliver ever greater capabilities to our customers' ever-evolving needs.
Businesses today operate faster than ever before. Last month's data is no longer sufficient. Last week's data is no longer sufficient. You need today's data.
All of this innovation has resulted in significant barriers to entry, which place Planet miles ahead of the competition.
This is just going to get better and more ubiquitous all the time, and there's a market for it. And Planet is a company that's really at the forefront of all of this.
And our subscription-based business model is unique for the industry, allowing Planet to serve data to multiple users across a variety of industries.
Historically, the way that the industry worked is you had very big, very expensive satellites that only the very wealthiest of countries, wealthiest of companies could afford to task and get an image of what might be transpiring at a point in time and in a very specific place. Planet is different because we've taken the approach of we want to create a data set that can apply to any industry and any company, any government of any size.
We operate at very high margin because we're already capturing the entire Earth every single day. The cost of serving each new customer is very low.
Little wonder then that our data is deployed across a staggering array of applications, from farmers seeking higher crop yields to governments needing visibility into urban development and many other applications for businesses that simply demand mission-critical insights.
We've been doing research around precision agriculture and the promise of precision agriculture. Planet Data realize that promise.
We rely on Planet's SkySat imagery to produce elevation maps that allow us to know how floods are going to move across the floodplain. And so that way we know who's in danger and where they can go to be safe.
Planet Data is really revolutionary to our industry, where never before have we been able to get this daily imagery everywhere on the globe, not only in the major food-producing countries where we might have national capacity for Earth observation already, but we have this everywhere.
The market opportunity for Planet's daily data is enormous, and it comes at a time when its urgency cannot be overstated. The Earth is changing more quickly than ever, and in ways that are dramatically disrupting economies, society, and the environment.
Planet's opportunity is massive. We sit at the center of two of the most important multi-trillion-dollar trends in the world today: digital transformation and sustainability. They affect every company in every industry and every government around the world.
Planet has built a Bloomberg-like terminal for Earth data, the world's first web geo platform empowering organizations to make informed decisions and navigate these economic shifts. Come join us as we work to change the future.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am so glad to be here connecting with you all today. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining and welcome to Defense and Security 2021 third webinar. Today's topic is Security in Space, Planets, and AllSource Analysis, providing value for national security, defense, and intelligence. My name is Punthala Tantanon, and I will be your moderator for today's sessions. Before we get started, there are a few reminders for you. During the webinar, feel free to type your questions on the Q&A box and submit to us. If time allows, we will go through the questions after the presentations. Otherwise, we will follow up each of your questions by email after the webinar finish. Towards the end, we will ask you to complete our survey. You can find the survey link from our email after this. Please take a minute to fill this out before leaving us today. Your feedback is very important for our enhancement. Finally, if you are experiencing any technical problems, please type your issue into the Q&A area to let us help. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our partner, Planets and AllSource. Now, let's move on to the presentations. Security in Space, Planets, and AllSource Analysis, providing value for national security, defense, and intelligence, which presented by Keyon Wo, President AllSource Analysis, who has nearly 20 years of experience in the geospatial data, imagery, software, and service industry, and Thomas Harris, Director of Professional Service, Planets, who has over 2 decades of experience in customer success and the geospatial and remote sensing industry. Please welcome both of them to our webinar. Hi, Thomas and Keyon.
Hello, and thank you. Thank you for welcoming us. Thomas will bring up the presentation in just a second, and we'll get started.
Good morning, Keyon. Good morning, Thomas. Yes, no worries.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, just technical issue. There we are. Thanks for the kind introduction and thanks for having us today. So pleased to be with you and talking about security in space, planet and AllSource analysis, providing value for national security, defense, and intelligence. Today we'll be talking about specifically TIP and Q for defense and intelligence and some of the unique capabilities that Planet brings to market that partners like AllSource are leveraging in unique and innovative ways. First, we'll give a quick introduction of AllSource analysis. We'll go into a little more detail on Planet's capabilities and TIP and Q, and talk about how Planet Analytics really enables this capability. And then we'll talk about 2 use cases from AllSource analysis, talking about illicit shipping and monitoring. And then we'll look at another terrestrial use case, roads and buildings applications. But Kenyon, great to be with you today. Thanks for joining. And we've been working together for well over a decade. I think I met you over a decade ago when you were at Spatial Energy. And now it's great to be working with you today as AllSource analysis. And why don't you take us through a little bit about AllSource?
Great, thanks, Thomas. Yeah, and it's good to be with you again and talk a little bit about some of the work that we've done together. So at AllSource Analysis, we are the first commercial company that delivers what we call finished geospatial intelligence. Many companies say they deliver intelligence, and really what they're delivering is additional data that can be used to provide intelligence or to create intelligence. Whereas we focus on really delivering actionable intelligence enough for people to act or respond to a situation or to the intelligence that's being provided to them. We are a completely unclassified company serving customers around the world, both government customers, commercial customers, and NGOs. And I think the reason that we're so different in the marketplace is that we've built a really unique business model. And that really starts with our network of experts. So our network is a global network that typically have years, if not decades of experience in things like geospatial intelligence, image intelligence, open source intelligence, and a lot of other geospatial analysis. And they bring a lot of experience and expertise. And most importantly, they bring a lot of passion and enthusiasm. They are connected by internal communication devices, and they're always working collaboratively to provide really strong analysis. But those experts alone are not the solution. Today, we're going to be talking quite a bit about our experience and partnerships with Planet and how they've not only their content, but their technology and some of the things that our analysts use on a daily basis to really try to find cutting edge and combine tools and technologies to give people the best in terms of finished geospatial intelligence. And of course, none of this would be possible without the great imagery that we get from companies like Planet. And really, we're going to talk quite a bit about their revisit, the resolution and the consistency of their products, and really some of the products that we've been able to create collaboratively because of just the volume of data that's out there. So we pull together the best resources for each project on an on-demand basis whenever we approach a project. Let's talk a little bit about how we do this in 3 phases. So we do have a three-phased approach, and really what we find is that intelligence is built on a solid foundation, and that foundation is really what we call a sit rep or a site rep. And what that is understanding the situation or the specific site or combination of sites and what is there, not only what is there, but why it's important, why it's positioned in the way it is, and really get a full understanding of what's at a specific site. In phase 2, we go on to monitoring, and that's really where we start to look at things like pattern of life, change detection. And again, we're not just pointing out what changed, but we're explaining and reporting on why that change is significant, what it means, what perhaps sometimes no change may mean in terms of intelligence reporting or what's going on the ground. And then really at phase 3, that's where it gets really exciting in terms of insight. And you'll see that in one of our case examples tonight, that we were able to pull together quite a few different types of data. And not only that, but bring in additional types of technology. And the combination of our analyst expertise, that technology and content really can create some exciting intelligence. So that's a little background on AllSource analysis and how we've worked with Planet in the past.
That's great. And technologies like Planet's obviously slot right into phase 1 and can be built upon. And it's really amazing how AllSource is just able to be so agile as new capabilities come online. I think about like RF frequency monitoring from space, or AIS, which we'll see an example of in a little bit, and being able to bring all of these different modalities together is really powerful. But today, chatting about tip and queue workflows, I'll just give a quick introduction to tip and queue and talk about some of the background, the technology that makes it a reality today, and talk about analytics as well and how analytics plays a part in this mix, enabling companies like AllSource to innovate and bring insights to market. So tip and queue, it's all about this idea of identifying key events or change on the ground that you want to get a closer look at. And it's really enabled by Planet's high frequency, high res imagery. So our PlanetScope imagery. And that always on capability reduces the risk of missing key events. So if we combine that high frequency monitoring, where we're imaging the Earth every day with our PlanetScope constellation, that's what we'd call the tip. So there's an event on the ground, something changes, and that tips off the signal that we need to go and to get a closer look. And so we can take a closer look with SkySat, our high resolution constellation, to see what the specifics are of any change. And again, this is all enabled by our daily image capture from PlanetScope and SkySat high resolution. Another key component is analytics. So we're capturing all that imagery, vast quantities of PlanetScope every day. And how do you make sense of that? How do you find that needle in the haystack, that bit of change that's worth looking at? Much of the planet doesn't change every day, or if there is change, you're not that interested in it. How do you find that key change that you're interested in? And that's where imagery analytics comes in. And that's where Planet has made just really large investments over the last decade. Again, all enabled by our constellations of satellites. So over 180 Dove satellites in space. That's the always on imagers. So they're imaging close to the entirety of Earth's landmass every day. And then for that closer look, there's 21 SkySat satellites that can zoom in for that higher resolution look. And this animation demonstrates how Earth rotates, and then you have that string of the doves, or that make up the PlanetScope constellation, always circling the Earth. And as the Earth rotates underneath, that allows you to scan every bit of land. And so it's like a gigantic land scanner. And then in concert, you have the SkySat satellites, and those are the high resolution imaging at 50 centimeters. And there's two separate or distinct constellations of SkySats. One at sun synchronous, going over the poles, and then you'll see in orange the inclined orbit. Those in an inclined orbit, and those give a faster repeat, so that you can image those points on the ground more frequently. Combined, this is a really powerful capability, the ability to combine the doves at that medium resolution, always on, imaging the whole Earth, and then zooming in with SkySat for that closer look. And then analytics. So mentioned analytics and object detection, for example, being able to find specific objects in PlanetScope imagery. Kenyon's going to give a really great example here in a minute of mapping, monitoring vessels in ports using this capability, but also we can find aircraft and well pads. Another type of land classification or detection of surface features or roads and building detection. So that's what we call segmentation feeds. And then the key capability that really enables much of this is change detection. And so for roads and buildings, for example, we can map roads at some cadence, and then we'll watch for change over time. And then as we see a change, we can flag that, and then via API, all automated, we can send out an alert, and that alert might be able to tip or queue up an image acquisition from SkySat. So all of these capabilities work together. So we have the PlanetScope, medium resolution, SkySat high resolution, and then combining that with the analytic feeds. But yeah, when putting this into practice is where the rubber hits the road. And when you do put it into practice, lots of benefits. So you get those fresh insights, the freshest insights, the freshest imagery, just collected yesterday. So being able to see not what changed a month ago or a year ago, what changed yesterday. All of this automated. So, Planet is a cloud first company. So it was built on the cloud from the start. It's an API first, developer friendly company. So everything's automated and can be automated so that detections can be wired up so that if there's detection of change, for example, that could tip up a satellite acquisition from SkySat. We can do this globally, and we can and generate actionable insights, as Kenyon is going to show you here in a minute. Yeah, and then the final piece, which is really critical, is just the archive. So we've been collecting PlanetScope now for since 2014, and then before that, we have the RapidEye archive that goes back to 2009. So we're any spot on Earth, you just have a gigantic stack of images through time. And this can be used for machine learning applications, artificial intelligence applications, to train models to be able to find specific features of interest. If you're interested in ships, for example, or aircraft, you can train models specific to those features of interest. So yeah, bringing it all together is how we really enable interesting applications, like we're going to see from Kenyon. And Kenyon, over to you. Let's talk about vessel detection and persistent monitoring reports. You all had put together a really interesting application here around port monitoring, around bringing in other sources of intelligence, like from AIS to marry ship detections with ship IDs to try to find dark vessels, vessels that might be trying to evade detection. Really interesting use case. You want to jump in and tell us a little more?
Sure, great. Thanks, Thomas. And that was a great animation of all the satellites. It really gives you a perspective of how much data is really being collected. I know our team was really excited when Planet first launched to get all of that data, but quickly became inundated with the just the sheer volumes of it. So this type of object detection and the project that we worked on, we were one of the first companies to really use the vessel detection. We were kind of a beta customer for that. And we were really impressed with the process and the results as we started the project. And it really provides kind of port-specific monitoring up to about 15 kilometers offshore. Our team looked at dozens of ports and the results, and we were really both doing that for testing, but we were also doing it for some of our customers. So let's take a look at an example of kind of how the process works, and we'll move on to the next slide. So one of the things that comes from Planet, as Thomas said, API-driven company, very repeatable. So the raw analytic feed that you're seeing here on the left comes directly from Planet, and you can see that this is the number of vessels detected from the automated process. We can see that there's 6 blue boxes on the left, and 6 of those were identified as vessels. On the right, what AllSource did was we brought our analysts who have years of experience of looking at imagery. The beauty of the automation is they didn't have to start from scratch. They had these observations, so they were able to go in and verify kind of the results of the algorithm. So with the analyst in the loop, we were able to find and verify, we provide verifications at 3 levels. So obviously the first one is a true positive detection. And you can see those in the lighter green color. So they were detections that the algorithm made that were confirmed by our analysts. The next is a false positive detection. So you can see the small red box in the center of the right-hand image. That was the algorithm or the detection had picked up and identified a vessel. This was actually a bulkhead. So by closer examination and some experience that our team had, we were able to say that that was not a vessel. But probably the most difficult is a false negative. And this is where the algorithm perhaps did not pick up a vessel. And again, our team was able to look at those, look at the port and find additional vessels. So this is the most intensive type of verification to provide is a false positive. but you can see this example has kind of a full range of those types of activities. So this is what we call the verification process. So the next part is classification. So because our analysts are taking the time to look at these vessels, and typically our customers want not only to know what type of, or what is there a vessel there, but they want our team to go in and start to identify and classify the specific vessels. So our team provides additional information above and beyond what the detection can provide. And that's the information like ship type. You can see here, large bulk cargo vessel, approximate length and width. And then also, as available, if our analysts are able to provide the name, the flag, and perhaps the IMO number as well. So it allows for additional information to be added to that site. Really, this is the finished geospatial intelligence, what we call a curated detection. Object detections. So we'll just go to the next slide. So on this slide, what we're seeing is really the ability. This is the data as it's provided from the results. If we go to the next slide, you'll see what we do is we take the exact same metadata file and we add the additional information. So the status, so the verification status, as well as additional classification information. And this really allows, by us just taking the data formats and just adding some of this additional file information or metadata information, it allows for a repeatable and consistent results over a specific area. And that really allows customers to build it into their workflows and their intelligence workflows as they get this data that can be delivered on a daily basis over key sites.
That's super interesting. And here we're zoomed in to one port in particular, but the thing that strikes me the most is how this can this workflow from AllSource can really be scaled, right, to many ports simultaneously.
That's right, and that's a great point, Thomas. This is just one example, but we do provide this service on a fixed price per port, and it really allows for continuous monitoring. And we'll talk about some of the other reporting that we provide in a sec as we get through the presentation, but it really is scalable to any port or any number of ports globally. So a specific example of our work as it works to leverage some of the Planet technology and data, as well as AIS data. So Thomas mentioned we are AllSource analysis, so we use a lot of different type of information, and a lot of intelligence gathering. As it monitors illicit shipping, relies on AIS or ship tracking data, and sometimes they do that exclusively. What we found is that there were a large number of ships that, for one reason or another, sometimes don't have their AIS turned on. Sometimes it's purposely to avoid detection or tracking. And the power of working with all of these different data types is coming from combining those data sets and being able to take those multiple data feeds and then have an analyst in the loop that can really provide some specific information. So on this project, we worked with C4ADS to track illegal shipments. And really, they were asking us to leverage our expertise as well as their expertise. And we were able to take Planet imagery as evidence and use that as evidence of the Sea Sapphire during a period that its AIS was turned off. If we go to the next slide, we'll see that the vessel turned off its AIS for approximately 6 days, and our team was able to show the vessel in a port during those 6 days, and really, in combination, provide that vessels can be taken offline and brought online and be monitored while they're quote unquote going dark, or they've turned off their AIS. So really, it was a great project that used a lot of different data from from Planet, as well as the AIS data and our experts, that really provided kind of evidence of these kinds of illegal shipping activities that went on in the Iranian ports.
That's great. And, just pointing out the how the SkySat image of the ship in port is so critical to get that high res view in port to positively identify sea sapphire.
Yeah, that's a great point, Thomas. And it's a really good example of how a lot of our projects will use the Planet Scope data for kind of initial monitoring. And just like you said, the tipping and queuing, and then when it's necessary, we test SkySat. We have great success testing SkySat, and it's usually to confirm something, not necessarily to find it, but to confirm or to provide that extra level of intelligence around a specific object or a specific activity. So, in summary of what we offered in our vessel detection activities is really our partnership with Planet gives us great volumes of data, large and a lot of the object detection work really saves a lot of time and provides our customers not only with a faster result, but a more cost-effective solution. It really serves as the foundation for the curated vessel detection, and we consider that the finished geospatial intelligence. But by combining Planet Scope with SkySat, we're able to provide the analyst verified vessel detection file, so the updated file that we looked at. We're also able to provide the additional classification information in terms of unique vessel identification. And then lastly, we typically deliver intelligence reports delivered weekly. So when we're looking at a port or multiple ports, we provide a briefing with imagery and additional data backup to provide an overview of what's going on at that specific port. So again, this is all commercially available and unclassified for any port globally that our customers are interested in monitoring.
Yeah, that's really great. So yeah, the part that strikes me is just how these technologies really enable your analysts to do so much more than what they could do in the past. Looking at individual images, for example, visually trying to find features of interest or trying to find change manually is such a laborious process. And so all these technologies coming to fruition, like cloud and small sats and artificial intelligence and ML are all really enabling the analysts in AllSource's network to really do a lot more with in a much shorter amount of time.
Yeah, and our analysts really enjoy it. I think a lot of people think, oh, what will analysts do if we replace them with cloud and some of these methods? Our analysts would rather focus on providing the additional information like you see here in the middle, and not have to search for the objects, but actually start to understand what they are and what their relevance is. So it's just been a great partnership in that regard.
That's great. I wanted to share another example here, just a terrestrial example, similar use case. So this time looking at change detection, but another tip and queue scenario. So here we're seeing a base map. Base maps at Planet are assembled from PlanetScope imagery. So we find the best cloud-free, highest quality images for some time frame. Could be weekly, could be every 2 weeks, could be monthly. And we assemble wall-to-wall good pixels, so highest quality pixels that we call a base map. And then we analyze those base maps for different features on the ground, like roads and buildings. And then that's how we generate our change detections. So we analyze the results from that building or road mapping exercise and see what's changed over time. So here we have an area in Saudi Arabia, and just analyzing the change over time. You can see in red the red outlines, those vector polygons highlight the areas of change. And then from that, we can then zoom in with a SkySat. So that would be the tip the identified change that could tip you to go out and queue up a SkySat acquisition that you can see here, where we've captured high resolution image of the same location. And now we can see much more detail. So you can see what specifically those features were that were identified as changed. You can see a lot of human activity there. You can see specifics around what they're building. So really interesting use cases that are enabled now with tip and queue. So bringing in monitoring for long periods of time with PlanetScope at medium resolution, and when you see change, zooming in with SkySat. So thanks very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. If anybody would like to find out more, you can definitely contact me directly. There's my email, and then Kenyon as well over at AllSource Analysis. We also wanted to, while we're here, just alert everybody that we have our annual user conference coming up October 13 and 14 in a couple of months. So come check us out. It's going to be a fantastic user conference. A lot of great content, a lot of great speakers, a lot of innovation. So come and see what we have to offer. And as well, we'd just like to thank the organizers. So thanks to GML and thanks Defense and Security 2021. It's a great opportunity to brief on Planet and AllSource capabilities. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Kayon and Mr. Thomas, for your wonderful presentation on the topics. It's very interesting and informative for the people who in the industry, especially for the update in technology that we can see clearer picture on this advancement. Now, we have some time left for Q&A sessions. Please type your questions and submit to us. While waiting for some more questions, I would like to bring your attention to our webinar survey. Again, and thank you in advance for filling out the feedback form. It's very important for our future webinar improvement. Also, once again, thank you to our lovely partner, Planet and AllSource, for the great support and make this webinar happening. Right now, I think we have received enough questions from the audience already. So let's start with the first question. What is the resolution and revisit used for Planet analytic feeds? Why use Planet analytic feed solution versus other analytic product in the market?
Yeah, so the resolution and revisit for analytic feeds. So really the analytic feeds from Planet are just most powerful because of the revisit. As we have daily image captures from PlanetScope, that allows you to really monitor daily what's happening on the planet. And so, that daily high frequency revisit is really the magic that really differentiates Planet's solution from others that are out there.
Right. Can Planet data be automated with my own custom analytic workflow application?
It can, yeah. So yeah, automation is one of the key components of the Planet platform. The ability to automate. I mentioned in the webinar that Planet is a cloud-first company, an API-first company, and developer-friendly. So we've really started the company way back in the day, thinking that we need to make the imagery easily accessible via APIs. And so pretty much anything on Planet platform can be done via API, and that enables people to wire up really intricate, complicated workflows that can answer all sorts of different questions.
Let's move on to the next questions. Any recent examples of Planet commercial imagery being used for intelligence in Asia Pacific?
Yeah, I can take that one as well. So that there was a really interesting case just recently in China where there were missile silos, new missile silos being constructed that I think the world didn't know about until it was recently reported. I think in publications like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others, where 2 new sites were discovered. And it's interesting that in both those cases, they were discovered by citizen scientists, so people out who are interested in the field and interested in looking for features like this. And they were using planet base maps, so looking at the medium resolution imagery and seeing features of interest. And just like we discussed, tip and cue, they were able to see something of interest, see change, and then queue up higher resolution imagery to get a closer look and confirm activities on the ground.
Then why would someone use PlanetScope if there is SkySet available?
I can go for that one as well. So PlanetScope just gives you that high frequency revisit. So being able to get an image every single day over your area of interest. Granted, there might be clouds and poor atmospheric conditions, but you still get that opportunity every day to image your area of interest. And so that's really the key for PlanetScope.
I would just add that it really, most programs that we see use a combination. As Thomas explained, it's you start with PlanetScope, and then in order to verify or to get more information, it's usually a combination of a tasking program around in addition to PlanetScope. So it's what's really powerful of one company to get both of those results. A lot easier for logistics and partnering and all of that. So it's a really great combination.
Yeah, definitely. And something that we didn't really talk about tonight in the presentation was just the ability to positively identify features in PlanetScope. But something that strikes me about PlanetScope is the ability, even if you can't positively identify a feature, you can still maintain its custody, right? You can see if it's moved over time. And so even if the resolution isn't such that you can positively identify, you can see that a feature is maybe still there on the ground, track it through time, and then see when it moves, and then use that information to queue up higher res.
All right. Why do I need analysis looking at the data if there are automated methods?
I'll take that one, Thomas. So, I think it's a combination of both that is the optimal solution. So having experts involved, typically with experience. I know Thomas and I both have decades of experience, and a trained analyst can see things in imagery that most people cannot see. And it's not just laying eyes on the specific object, it's direction, the way it's pointed, its proximity to other things that takes additional information, not just looking at pixels, but understanding context. And that's where experts can really come in handy, in addition to having the automated methods.
If I'm a Planet customer today, how can I work with AllSource?
Thomas, so we work very closely with Thomas and his group on a daily basis almost. So it's a matter of, if you're an existing Planet customer, reach out to your sales representative. They can put you in touch with the professional services area, and then we can coordinate our activities jointly based around your existing relationship with Planet.
Interesting. Q4, developing intelligence service from set images plus ARDL may require many image datasets. Sorry. Do you get all the datasets from Planet?
We at AllSource, as our name implies, we use a lot of different data types. We are a partner with Planet. We have access to a lot of other different data sets. So other Earth imaging satellites, SAR satellites, drone data, social media feeds, AIS data. We have a project we're working on now that we're using over 15 different data sets to provide monitoring of a border. And it's not uncommon for us to mix all of those together, and the output is typically presented visually with an imagery base map. But sometimes some of the intelligence comes from not only the imagery but from additional data sources.
Actually, there are still some more questions, but unfortunately, we do not have enough more time for Q&A. We'll be sure to follow up each of them after the webinar. And I think Thomas and Kun Kayon may ready for answer their questions by the email or their contract directly. Yeah, so that's all we have for today. Thank you, Mr. Kayon and Mr. Thomas. We appreciate your time and expertise on today's topic. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
You.
So before you're leaving, please don't forget to fill out the webinar survey. If you would like to see our previous webinar and the record video for this webinar, please visit our website www.asean-event.com or scan this QR code that shows up here. Defense and Security 2021 show will be held this November from 1st to 4th at Impact Muang Thong Thani, Bangkok. Finally, I would like to thank you everyone again for joining, and I hope you will be enjoy today's webinar. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.